One thing about PDAs, all PDAs, not just this one, is the more you ask it to do, every now and then it just gives up. And so one of the most important things that we're going to learn today, if you haven't already learned it, is to take your stylet out, and you don't have to do it, but there's a little button in the back. Should your PDA lock up, do what is known as a soft reset, and generally that'll solve 99.9% of the problems. If you're locking up, we have another way to do it. Just raise your hand, and we'll unlock you. One of the things that we hope to accomplish, Dan and Alex and I, who've been working on this for more than a year, is to go far beyond the usual how to, use your PDA to keep addresses and things like that. That's why that's only a really very small portion of our course, and we're going to have some fun. Before we get started, everybody's PDA is set to be my PDA, and if anybody of you wants to go to some of the meetings I have to go to, feel free. So you've got my schedule, and we're going to wipe them out at the end. You've got my whole address book, so if there's anybody you want to call, feel free to write their name and number down. I think I did take out all of, old girlfriends and things like that, so I think I'm safe with the address book. So the first thing we're going to do is customize. So if you would start by picking up your PDA, and we're going to run the PDAs from either the table or the computer. We're going to start by customizing. I started with the American flag, so we're going to hit and take out our stylet, and we're going to hit the Start button, and that's going to bring a menu down. We're going to go to Settings, and we're going to tap Today, and that's going to be our general mode of navigating through. Has everybody made it to where we are on the screen? This is basic navigation, and these are all the different front pages you can pick. I'm going to pick Catfish. You can pick anything you want, and then just tap OK. And then tap the X on the settings. And now we're fish. Now we're cats. So if you go ahead and customize your PDAs, you don't have to make all yours look like the American flag. Or if you want to keep the American flag, far be it from me to tell you not to use the American flag. But the first thing that I want to show you is that you can customize your PDA. Now, what? Is anybody not customized? Oh, just tap the screen. So hit the Start menu, the Settings menu, and then the Today, and you'll see all those choices. This is sort of basic navigation tips. That's why we're going slow. As we get moving, we'll navigate. Anybody not able to customize? Anybody want a different picture? Just tap the X in the top corner. Program Settings on the Start menu. Here, I'll go back for you. Here, put up the screen, tap Start. And you can get rid of any screen by tapping the X in the corner. Settings. Today. And maybe I don't like the cat so well after all. Maybe I'll go with Blue Sky. And then you tap, if you want to get rid of a screen, just tap the X in the corner, and now we have Blue Sky. Basic, navigate your way around the programs. Now, if you like this customization option, included on your CD in your workbook is all these files, including the customization files. You can take them home. There's a whole bunch of interesting programs. Some of the demo programs that we have today, the demo versions are on the CD. The entire workbook in color is on the CD. So we want this workbook and CD to be a reference for you. Now my PDA has a few extra things on it, but it's basically the same thing. So let's start with the basics, and let's start with the Personal Information Manager. And we're going to show not only how you can use this to manage your contacts and names, but how you can do a few more advanced things. And we'll start with the Contact Manager. How many here have never, ever used a Palm or a Pocket PC device? So you're truly new to the game, and so we'll try to help you around with the navigation. Once you've used one of these devices, you know that the stylet is your general method of entry. You can use your finger, but it's not as precise. And so we're going to go through the personal information manager to get everybody on the same page, since most of you have tried that, and then we'll move on to the programs for you. Now, there's a couple different ways to get information in and out of your PDA. And as you can see, one of the great things about this system is that it really works seamlessly with your Microsoft Outlook. If your office is on Outlook, then hooking up your PDA to your Outlook system really is a fairly seamless operation. So you can tap things into your calendar. Or your inbox, or your contacts manager. So we'll go, on my computer, we'll go to contacts. And you can see that all of these were entered in, and the next time you hot sync, you can do that. Another way you can do this is that if you have a friend who has a contact, their own business card or something, you can beam into the PDA, and we're going to do some beaming just for practice for those of you who've never beamed. But as you can see, all of these contacts can go into your PDA fairly seamlessly. Now, if you want to look at your contact manager, we can hit the Start button and then look for contacts up at the top. And there's all kinds of contacts. Now, many times you're out on the road and you're not at your computer, and so you have to be able to learn how to enter information into your PDA. So one of the first things that we're going to do, and it's particularly important for the novices, is to be able to input information. So what we're going to do is go into this bottom corner and tap New, and that's going to give us our basic contact page. Is anybody not on their new contact page? So new contact page, and in this corner there's lots of different ways we're going to input. So if you tap on the keyboard, that makes the keyboard come up, and there's a block recognizer, and there's a keyboard. So we'll start with the keyboard because that's really pretty simple, and the way you use the keyboard is you just tap on it. And so you might say your new contact will be my boss, or whatever you want to type. Type your own name if you want, because it'll be good to be able to beam. That way I'll have all of your names. You can type my boss, and you can put department. He works for God, according to him. Or he is God. Maybe I should move that. Or perhaps he's a goddess, or she's a goddess. And you notice that when you start spelling, some of these words pop up for you automatically. You have a question? Okay. So the keyboard is, you tap, if you want to see it, you just put your, and it comes up. Now, keyboard typing is really pretty easy, and it's kind of slow, but if many of you, how many here were originally Palm users? All right, a lot of Palm users in the crowd. So this will be good because it'll make it easy, because the Pocket PC and the Palm both allow you to use graffiti method for block writing. So we're going to go from the keyboard, we're going to go and we're going to tap this up button on the side. And we'll go to block recognizer. Now, I've given you the graffiti alphabet, and if most of you Palm users already know how to use this, then you can use graffiti method. So if you want to go to company, and you can just go my, of course I can't do graffiti better than anybody else. Something like that, or if you want to really write something, you can just go backwards. My drive, whatever your company is. There's a couple other methods of entry, and they have, if you go and you want to explore these, you hit the up button, and they have a letter recognizer, which is kind of interesting. You can just try to write the letters. I think the letter recognizer is a cool feature. You got to write big, and it takes some practice. And I'm not very good at it. But it's one of the many options. But for those of you that are new, we can do with the keyboard. And you can tap away. It's got a shift screen and numbers. And you can rock and roll. Now, once you've got your contact made, whose name is my boss, and she's in the Department of Goddess and works for this mythical company, you just tap OK in the corner, and my boss appears under boss/my. Now, the amazing thing is, as you synchronize, now we're going to go look, because the power of the Pocket PC, when it's connected to your computer, all of this is done seamlessly, and we can look and see whether my boss, or boss-my, has made it in under the B's all the way to my laptop. And sure enough, without doing any active syncing or syncing process, boss/my shows up on my computer, automatically synced, without any need to hot sync or do any special operations. And so you can be entering information on your computer. It'll go right to your PDA. You can be entering information on your PDA. It will go right to your computer. So another way to do this is, I'm now going to modify it, because if you're not a very good keyboard typer, I'm going to add some information under job title. We'll make him the bad guy, just for purposes of this. And we'll see if that shows up. Oh yeah, it wants me to save the changes. And we'll see if that shows up on the PDA now. Yes? That's because you're wireless, or because I'm just connected the way you'd be connected in the cradle. So now you can see I'm connected by just a USB connection for the moment, but you could be wireless. But as you can see, the information that I typed on the computer went immediately to the Pocket PC. So unlike the Palm system, where you have to be constantly hot syncing, this, if you're connected, is constantly updating each device. And so there's really a lot of power in that. Now, the next thing that people often ask me is, what about the Palm users? And can you beam between a Palm and a Pocket PC? Or they're incompatible? Well, here's my old Palm 5, and I've got a contact in it. And I'm going to attempt something that's never been done before here on the national stage at Sages. I'm going to attempt to hot sync from my Palm. Maybe not. So I'm going to beam my address, or this person's address. And as you can see, this contact known as Wonder Boy, do we want to save him to our contact list? And the answer is yes. And now Wonder Boy will show up under W's in our contacts. We hope. He was already in yours? Oh, under B for boy, figures. So you can beam between Palm and Pocket PC, and you can go the other way. So these two platforms are reasonably compatible, and so there is no problem. So if you are thinking about switching, and I'm not encouraging you to switch or not switch, incompatibility with previous databases is really not the issue. What I'd like to do for a minute is, if each station could turn around and beam each other, for those of you who want to get some practice beaming or who have never beamed before or want to see how it works in the Pocket PC, why don't you try beaming contacts, a few contacts back and forth with each other. And the way you do it is by selecting a contact, and you go to Tools. So it's Contact, Pick one from, this is an old contact, Marianne doesn't work there anymore, and just beam the contact, and I probably won't be able to reach anybody from here. So this is a good way to say hello to your neighbor by having a little beaming session. You got to point them at each other because the infrared ports have to be lined up.
Where's the port?
On the top. Ports are on the top. Work. Okay, so let's go on to email. These are some real emails. If you have connected with your Exchange server in your hospital, then you can download emails when you hot sync to your Pocket PC. There are options for connecting to the hospital's Exchange server. Some hospitals require you to have your laptop connect and then connect your PDA to your laptop. That's the way it works in our hospital. And we'll just pick one. And so this is an email from Paolo Pierce from Hewlett-Packard giving me permission to give 2 of the PDAs to you. Now, if you want to, you can reply on your PDA. So one thing that I do in the morning is I hot sync and take them with me while I'm sitting around in the operating room. And so you can actually reply. And so one of the things that you do, if you go down to the bottom, you can do this. You can forward it, or you can reply, or to reply to everybody. And you just hit reply. And I'll just say thanks. And send. Now what's going to happen is, obviously I'm not connected to the internet, but the next time, the very next time that I hot sync, that reply will just go forwards without anything that you need to do. So you can do your replies and then send it later. Question?
So to send mail back and forth, you have to hot sync, but for contacts, it just does it continually updates.
We have to be connected. You have to be connected in some way to update each other. In this case, I'm connected through a USB cable.
But not only do you have to be connected, but then you actually have to go through the hot sync.
You have to go, you don't have to hot sync, you just have to be connected to the internet. Like this computer will send contacts back and forth, but won't do email because this particular computer is not connected to the internet.
These PDAs have wireless capability?
These particular PDAs, and there are wireless cards at your desk. So for instance, this PDA has a Bluetooth and 2 card slots. You can use that wireless card that's there just for demo. You can set it up for wireless. Other PDAs have wireless built in, and so it just depends on the features that you're looking for. So this PDA with that low power LAN card, and we'll talk about it at the end, can do Bluetooth, wireless, USB connection, and other things. Question?
Does the, when you open up your inbox, does it take all of the messages off to your...
No, it's not like your home email where it takes other things off the server. Exchange servers, unlike your personal email, the emails always stay there no matter what computer you open up on. So this is really handy. So you can do a little email while you're waiting for cases. You know, I don't know about you guys, I get a lot of email during the day that need 1 or 2 word replies, and you can reply. And some of the nice things is, here's an email from Lisa at Sages looking at testing dates. When you reply, you can edit. We can get rid of this for a second. And you can do voice recordings. So for instance, instead of typing, I could hit the voice recorder and just hit the red button, and we'll practice voice today. And I'd say, Lisa, I will love to see you on the 15th. And we'll do the big test. Well, this is already packaged in. You can play it when you send it. And instead of getting a text mail, when the email hot syncs, they'll open it up and the attachment will be your voice recording. So you don't even have to type anything. You can look at these emails, you can enter a recording just like that, and you can add something, stop, and when you hit the send button, say again? There's a little voice recorder. We'll reply to her again. I have to remember to wipe this computer clean. So under reply, you see the little cassette tape at the bottom after you reply to somebody? So practice replying to one of these emails. Don't worry, because all these are going to be wiped at the end of the course. So you can say, you know, whatever you want to Lisa. She's not going to get the message. And you just tap the voice recorder. That brings the voice recorder up. And just tap it, the red dot, and we can send another message to Lisa telling her how much we appreciate her good work for FLS. This is Outlook Mail. And then when you go to send it, so this is a really cool way to respond to your email. Question in the back. These are WAV files, so these are as generic and as vanilla as a Windows device has come. And having done this any number of times, once people know that they're going to get voice replies from you, then they know to look at the attachment and just click on it. So you can be looking at email, tap reply, hit the voice recorder, give them a message, send it, and when you hot sync, that email with the voice attachment will go off and do that. Almost every PC in the world now has a speaker. So as long as their speakers are connected, they can play your voicemail. If you're really lazy like me, this is one of the best tools that you can find on an advanced PDA course. Forget about writing people back. Just send them voice messages, and you're off and running. Questions about emails and email replies. One question is, can you put attachments on these emails? Absolutely. Under the tools and edit, you can write emails and attach things, and we'll do that at the end.
When you use the voice message system for replying, does it show up here as text?
No, it shows up as a voice file and just goes, it's not translated. Right. So under the edit function in our reply, one of the really kind of fun things that you can also do, let's pretend you're sending an email to a referring doc. You can go under Edit, and we can add an attachment. And it will search through your PDA for different types of things to add. And it's searching right now. And there's all kinds of things in here, files and things. Here's a picture file. Let's see if we can. And that JPEG, it might be, and we're going to show you how we're going to move pictures out of the operating room directly in your Pocket PC. Pretend for a minute that this is an intraoperative photo, and now you can just simply, we're going to move pictures from here to here, drop it in an email, and you can be sending a de-identified under HIPAA attachment directly to your referring docs. You don't even have to leave the operating room, and you can send emails and referring information and attachments directly to the crowd. So this is a really handy attachment. And you just tap send, and it's off. Now, one of the things that really makes this very powerful is this synchronization tool, and I'll answer your question.
When you tap send, what exactly happens? Does it go?
It doesn't go anywhere until you synchronize, until you, with your Exchange server for email.
And that actually requires hot sync?
It requires being connected to the internet. Right now, I'm synced, but it knows that I have no internet connection. So as soon as you have an Exchange server internet connection, it'll pick up all the emails. It's like the mailman coming.
But if for instance, you didn't want to send that email to Lisa, you would open up your
I could intercept it and change my mind if it turned out to be something that I had made a mistake on. Now, the active sync function is really very handy, and in your workbook shows how on the very first time you sync, how you set things up. And we're not going to sync today because we don't have any laptops. But your workbook will tell you how to pick the connections, and there's a lot of ways to sync. I'm syncing through the USB, but you could sync wirelessly, and there's different options based on how you're set up, and that's on page 11. Now, one of the really great functions in all of this is is how to work with your calendar. And I'm going to go to the calendar function. Actually, I'm going to get out of this first. Yes.
If we got hung up under deeming, and it won't let us get out of that, so when we close out, we get back to the deeming,
You can just tap the corner, the X in the corner, and that'll close that. All right. Then the first thing to do is just soft reset, and your PDA will reset. If you have too many things open at once. Now, under calendar, you can see this is April 16th. In the future, got a lot of things, unfortunately, to do that day, including mock orals. You can get your secretary or yourself to go into the calendar function, and you can see there's the Office Outlook calendar is in the back. But like the contacts, this will update immediately. So I'm going to move over to April 18th, where there's no appointments. And we're going to watch in the background, because this is connected to the calendar. And I'm going to make a new appointment on the 18th, and it's going to be called sleep. And so I'm going to do sleep, and I'm going to just say okay. Do it from 12 to 1. I'm going to take a nap. And we'll see if sleep will then immediately show up. You can see the computer in the background. On the 18th at 2 o'clock, I'm going to go take a nap. So you can add things directly from the PDA, and like we did for the contacts, if you're typing in your office, adding things to your calendar, they'll go immediately to your PDA. So if you forget to hot sync, these things go immediately. But I want to show you the best thing in the universe on page 11. So if you turn to page 11 on your workbooks, Outlook gives you the opportunity, if you're on the Exchange server system, to allow other people to add things to your calendar. And it gives you a lot of control. For instance, I've given my secretary the ability to add things to my calendar, but not read my email, or do my calendar and email, but not look at my tasks. And so this is really one of the more useful things. I'm going to show you where it is in Outlook. It's under Tools, Tools and Options. So if you're in Outlook and you use Outlook and you go to Tools and Options, there's a little thing up here called Delegates. You see Delegates up here, and you can set them to do different tasks for you. And as you can see on the example on page 11, I've set a task for my secretary where she can do my calendar, and you can even have more control. Sometimes you can just let them see it, but I've given her editing privileges. So if she's got something to add to my schedule, she'll open the calendar, put a new appointment in. The next time I hot sync, it'll show up in my PDA. And that's a really powerful tool. And you can sync that over the internet. So just last night, I opened up my calendar and found that I have a meeting with somebody that I didn't know about before I left, right when I get back into town. So Delegates is one of the most useful functions if you're going to use a PDA to manage your daily life. Let your secretary be your calendar delegate. And if you want, you can be your email delegate if she corresponds for you. But using Delegates has really made my life a lot simpler. And you can hot sync from anywhere. No, she doesn't need it. She's got an office computer, and she's got her own email address. She's on the Exchange system. She's got Outlook in her computer, and I've named her as a delegate.
But she's got her own computer.
She's got her own computer.
But could she do it on this?
Absolutely. If she had delegate privileges, she could add it from her PDA, bring it up.
Y'all pick PC as opposed to Palm?
Well, that's a fair question. I've been waiting for that question all day. I guess you want the answer. As we put the course together, there were a couple of big choices, and one was whether to go with Pocket PC or with Palm. And as you can see, Many of us are Palm users. I'm a Palm user. You know, my Palm 5 is, with the steel case, is usually directly over my, over my heart. But as you look at the processing capabilities for handling images and video and interfacing with Outlook, we made a decision that we were going to go with the Pocket PC system. The other thing is, from an educational course point of view, if I put on a Palm course, and all of you are already Palm users, that's kind of the same old thing. We know that the Palm base is huge, and what we wanted to be able to show you is entirely new applications, entirely new ways of doing things. And so, for amongst those reasons, we went out and said, we're going to put on a Pocket PC course. Go ahead.
If your delegate puts something on your calendar, the only way you know it's on there is seeing the calendar. So they could put a meeting on in a couple of months, and really, you just have to be proactive at checking your calendar ahead of time. It's not like you get some kind of email from that someone else has added to your calendar.
No, but if she did something like that that was really important, she'd send me an email too. So that email would come down, and I'd be able to look at it. Bill?
It's entirely possible that your secretary could sync with her desktop using the phone book, picking out and you could then, it would be on the Exchange server on your calendar as she changes on her desktop to her phone, and then you can pick it up on your Pocket PC synchronizing with your desktop.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't mean you gotta use the Pocket PC.
Right, you can do it. That's the other thing, is that I'll walk into the office and open up my desktop, and all of that information, no matter where it came from, is available for all those people that have permission to view it. Question?
Are there any kind of office-based programs that will put multiple calendars, like, I've got 4 partners, and I want all 5 of us, I want my secretary to have 5 different calendars, and for us to all have access to it.
She can be a delegate for all 5 of you, and you can be delegates for each other and look at each other's calendars.
What kind of program is she using? Is she using Outlook?
She's using Outlook, and I think there are some more sophisticated managers. I don't know if you can do up to 5, but if you make each other delegates, you can go look at each other's calendars to your heart's content.
It's not something that will put multiple calendars on one together as one.
Not a lot of room. Not that I know of, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It may very well exist.
So the connections between the computers and the system are just through the internet, or?
There's so many ways to connect. Today, for the purposes of the course, I'm connected through a USB cable because it's reliable and fast.
No, I mean between the different, for instance, your secretaries and the computer and your computer.
We're all on the network. And I can be here in my hotel room, and she can be sending me emails or making updates to my calendar, and when I hot sync in my hotel room, I'll get all of the updates right here. There's a lot of power to this if you dive under the hood and take a look.
If you were wanting to change from Palm to P6, you want to buy a new one of these.
And if you win, you might win.
But how much trouble is it to convert all of your addresses from Palm to P6?
I'll tell you, it took me 3 minutes.
So it's like you're saying, you can put it into your computer and then somehow it gets.
There are conduits for moving these things. There's something called IntelliSync, and there's programs that are specifically designed to manage all your contacts. And I have a card scanning program, and so I moved everything through the card scanning program and off to the Outlook calendar. There's like 600 contacts in here, and the first 400 are from Palm. All these contacts that you have, 2/3 of them from my original Palm database. It takes minutes.
Do you work and we get instructions on how to do that? If you were to do that?
You can email me. Send me an email. I'll answer your email. Not anybody else's, just his. No, I'll answer your email. We don't want to make this a PIM course, but obviously there's a lot of interest in the power of what you can do when you have a readily syncable system. And we want to move on to really what we consider the real heart and soul of the course, things that are a lot more fun than keeping telephone contacts and your schedule, although in a transition period when I had a temporary secretary and I wasn't live, I was like a lost little boy. Having information of knowing where you're supposed to go is so useful in managing your practice. We're going to move on to information management, and I think we're going to do some things that are going to be, hopefully everybody has seen a Palm or knows how to handle an address, has gotten a taste for it if you're a brand new user, but I want to show you some things that hopefully you haven't seen before today and that'll make the course a lot more fun. We're going to talk about information resources, and we're going to start with Dan Heron.